What is going on, guys? Hope everybody's having, I almost hit that every single time. Hope everybody's having a good day. We are at the Tech Buds house, as some of you guys may know, and we buy and sell cars, as some of you guys may know. But I just wanted to go over something that was addressed in the group chat and to me as a direct message, and that is today it's going to be the pros and cons when buying from a car auction. So there are two types of car auctions. There is a public auction and there is a dealer-only car auction. So the difference between the two are, one, you can go only as a dealer. So if you have a dealer's license, you can go just as a dealer, or you can go to a public auction where anyone can put their car through the auction and sell it. There are a lot of different reasons why some cars come through the auction for both types of auctions, but I just want to explain from my experience being in this car market since I was really 15, buying and selling cars, going to dealer-only auctions. I just want to explain the pros and the cons, and I think they're going to surprise you because you're not always going to get the best deal at an auction. Sometimes you'll actually overpay, but there are a lot of benefits and there are a lot of cons that a lot of you guys probably wouldn't think about unless I explain them to you, just based on my experience, because it really surprised me whenever I started going to these auctions. I didn't realize that these things would be like the case in these situations, but you know, a lot of things really stood out to me, and a lot of bad things happened to me that I had to learn from going to these car auctions, but a lot of good things happened too. So I'm gonna go inside and explain 3 pros and 3 cons about going to car auctions as a dealer or a dealer-only auction. So come inside with me. It's really, really hot outside. It's like 110 today in Arizona, but come inside with me and I will explain a little bit more what I mean. So check this out. Speaking of car auctions, I found my Central Arkansas Auto Auction shirt. All right, back to the video. Okay, so now that we are inside, I'm actually gonna start with the cons. I wanna start with the cons so I can finish with the pros, because there probably are more pros for dealer-only auctions than cons, but there are a couple cons that will really surprise you and you'll be like, wow, that really makes sense once that I start to explain it. So number one on the con list with a dealer-only car auction is the fact that there are a ton, like hundreds, if not more, of junky cars that you need to be careful with so that you don't buy. I mean, there could be a reason why it's there in the first place. These are all car dealers. So you have to think about it like this. If they don't want it on their lot, then why would you want it on your lot? So going through these car auctions, you're gonna see 500, 1,000, 1,500 cars in one day. And a lot of them can be junk that maybe a new car dealer couldn't sell on their lot. So why would you want it, and why would you think that it would sell on your lot over theirs? I'm not saying that this is impossible. I'm not saying that at all, but you do have to be more cautious because you're dealing with dealers that know a lot of tips and tricks because they've had experience in the car market over the years. So that's the first one. It's short and sweet. The second one is honestly like very, very obvious once I start to explain this, but it is easy to overpay at these auctions. And I learned from experience how easy it is to overpay when bidding on a car. I mean, think about it. If you and 15 others want that Toyota Tacoma that you've been looking at since 8 a.m. in the morning, and it's going through the auction and you're about to bid on it, but you have 15 other people willing to pay for it. There could be many reasons why the other dealer across from you that's staring directly at you is bidding against you. And say you have this Toyota Tacoma set and you're willing to pay no more than $7,500 for it. But this dealer has a person that's been looking for one for months. So he's already got a seller priced at $9,000. He's willing to pay $8,500 because he knows he can sell it that same exact day, but you don't know what he's thinking. So you're just saying, I just want to pay 75. I just want to pay 75. And they will literally bid, and keep going. And you won't even realize that you're not getting a good deal because now you're trying to fight with this guy because you want it so bad. And now it's almost like it's a psychological thing because you're like, why is he willing to overpay for it? Maybe it is a better deal than I think. So then you start overpaying for it. And then now you don't even get a good deal in the first place. And his whole reason for buying that car was because he had to buy it instantly. Otherwise, he would not have paid what he was willing to pay for it. But then you end up winning the bid and now you've overpaid for it. So there are a lot of things like that you have to be careful with. And it's fun, but you do have to be careful because you need to have a game plan and you don't know what the other person's thinking because these are all car dealers. You're going against people that all have the knowledge. They do want the good deals, but there are exceptions and little things that they can do. That is something that you need to be really cautious with when buying from dealer-only auctions. A lot of people won't say that out loud, but I wanted to say it, and it's something that needs to be addressed, and it's something you need to be cautious with so you don't make that same mistake, because I made it a couple times. But it's part of it, it's part of the learning experience, and that's why I'm sharing it with you guys. So the third con with buying from a dealer-only auction is looks can be deceiving. I cannot tell you how many times I have seen a flawless looking car with tire shine on the engine bay, tire shine on the tires, everything shining up, and it's actually worse than that super dirty car, that's a new car trade-in on the lot that you looked past because it wasn't appealing visually. So I had learned going to these auctions that it is very important to realize, who you're buying from. If you're buying from these little used car dealers and they have a problem with that car, they're gonna try and shine it up as much as they can so they can hide real big issues that the car maybe actually had. So they'll tire shine the engine, they'll tire shine the tires, they'll tire shine the dash. They'll make it look really good, but in reality, most of those cars that are really, really appealing and really old are actually the ones that are in the worst shape at the car auction. So be aware if you see one that's visually appealing and shining super bright, be cautious because it could actually be the worst car there. And you might be better off buying a dirty car there and then detailing it yourself. Because if a dealer didn't put the work in to detail this car, it's almost like they just wanted to get it there, get it out, and didn't want to mess with it, which is a very, very good thing compared to someone that details the crap out of it and then they hide an issue, so then you get really excited, you're willing to overpay because it's so clean, and then it actually has that issue, so now you're really, really in trouble. All right, so now that we are done with the cons, I'm gonna start off with the pros, and there are a lot of good pros, and you will actually benefit from this and really start to understand why I think car auctions overall are better than having to do it individually, finding on Craigslist. Although there's some pros with that as well. I just want to start off with these. The first one is being able to buy new car trade-ins. So a lot of these big dealerships in your area will have these old cars that get traded in and they can't sell them on their lot because if someone comes on the new car dealership to buy a new car and then the dealership almost always wants to push them on a used car, they can't push them on a 04 nowadays because they came initially looking for a 2019. So it's almost impossible to push them on these older cars, so that what the dealers will do when they get these trade-ins is they'll leave them dirty typically, and they'll put 50 to 100 at the car auction, where the smaller dealers can capitalize on this because they are unable to sell them on their new car lot. And it makes a lot of sense, but also at the same time, if they put 50 cars there, they only have to make $200 to $300 off each car because they're selling in volume. Whereas the small used car dealer is going to want to make $1,000 because they only brought 3 or 4 cars to the auction. So it all makes sense when you start to think about it. So where I was able to capitalize the most when I would sell with my dad at his car dealership is I would buy these new car trade-ins. And, I knew that, if the dealer sold 50 that day, they would take only $200 more than what they got the car traded in for. And so that's where I was able to benefit. And also the car was dirty. They didn't try and hide anything. They simply just went from the dealership as they were traded in straight to that car auction. And they just left them there until that car auction ran, since it was only once a week. And they would have 50 to 100 to 150. But I've also learned that the clean ones from those small used car dealers typically had an issue that they did not tell you about. So new car trade-ins are a huge pro when going to these dealer-only auctions. That is the reason that I have found to be the most beneficial when buying cars at the car auction. So new car trade-ins is definitely probably the first on the list. The second pro from buying from a car auction is definitely being able to buy in bulk. Buying off Craigslist if you're a car dealer, meaning you have to go 10-minute drive for just one car 10 times a day, and maybe they don't tell you the truth and you drove 10 minutes and then you drove 10 minutes back and the car wasn't what they said it was. That is such a hassle when you could go to these car auctions and buy 10 at a time in one spot in one sitting and then be done for the day. Maybe put them on a trailer and you can have them all back to your car lot in one day. So that is a huge pro when going to these car auctions, is that you can see 500 cars and then you can buy 10 and bid on them all in one spot, instead of having to go all across the state or whatever state you're in or whatever town you're in or city you're in. and you don't even know if it's going to be good. So you could be wasting your time in the first place. Whereas you can go to one location, and if the car's bad, you'll know right there. And then you can look at the other 499 or 699 or 1,099 cars. So it's really, really cool that you can buy in bulk at these car auctions. It's very, very efficient, and you can get to your lot quicker, and you can fill your lot back up much, much quicker if you're running low on inventory. But the third thing is very, very important too. This is what I always talk about within the Flipping Wheels group, is that you're able to see thousands of cars a week. So if you go to 3 car auctions and they all 3 have 500 cars, you're gonna see 1,500 cars a week. And the good thing is with that is that you see common issues with each make and model so often that you start to become familiar with what to look for and what not to buy when going to these car auctions, so that you can help other people avoid those potential issues. So for example, like the Ford Explorer body style from like 02 to 05 has a very common transmission issue with the shift solenoids or the clutches slipping. And I've become aware of that just by being able to drive these, weekly, seeing 50 to 100 to 200 a week. And it's very, very good because now I know what to avoid or be more cautious with when buying a car like that. Same goes for every single type of model. You'll see them over and over and over have the same issue often. And it's very, very helpful for you so that you can minimize your loss and maximize your profit. But those are the 3 pros and the 3 cons. And I just wanted to go over this with you guys. It's not a crazy video. It's not anything like crazy edited, but it's very, very important to understand this stuff so that if you want to pursue a career in the car market, that you know this before going into it, so that you can minimize, the problems that you run into, and maybe I can help someone just a little bit more. But if you guys want to learn more about what we do on a daily basis, click the first link down below where we have the private community group chat with the Flipping Wheels team, where we help break down deals every single day, doing the pros and cons like I did in this video for each particular car when they share a Craigslist link. I think it's really cool, really informative. If you guys want to follow me on Instagram, hit the second link down below, and I'd be more than happy to connect with you, answer any questions that you guys may have. But as always, I will see you guys in the next video.